Assalamu alaikum, and thanks for watching HotConflict.com. Well, continuing with our series on alternative careers for Muslims and people from the Islamic community, I wanted to talk today about a very interesting and strange field. Now, as we're seeing, there is in the West a change in perception towards the spiritual and the supernatural. Some people may think it's strange as we're seeing the spread of Wicca, New Age, a lot of shows on television such as Charmed, Supernatural, for example, where we actually feature people who hunt demons and spirits. The spread of wizardry and witchcraft, as we're seeing in the widespread of Harry Potter and books like that. There has been a gap in learning between the Eastern and Western cultures. And as globalization continues to occur and people from the Eastern societies, especially the Indian subcontinent and the Middle East, have now started to be more involved in the Western community, there is going to become an increasing need for advisors and consultants in the spiritual world. Yes, that might sound strange, but as many people know who have watched the movie The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty, what is considered probably the most well-known horror movie of all time, it deals with the subject of exorcism or demonic possession. This process, which is somewhat in the closet for the Catholics and hardly even talked about, is a subject that is well known to the Muslim community. In Islam, we know very clearly about the role of jinns. Now, when I say jinns, most people think of Barbara Eden in I Dream of Jeannie. Well, in reality, there are various kinds of jinns of all different forms, from small jinns to the jinns that stay with you and whisper the waswasa in your ear as a qareen, your companion jinn from the shayateen, from the devil. And there are also larger jinns that are able to perform all kinds of things, what we call ifrit. And you might have read something about this from 1001 Arabian Nights, but today I wanted to talk about the need for Muslims to get involved in the fields of demonic possession, protecting residences and places, and the process of exorcism as known to Muslims. Now, in the West, it is going to become necessary for Muslims to be involved and be available to provide service and actually help those who are traumatized or inflicted. Now, when I say this, I must make a caveat that there tends to be a misunderstanding amongst a lot of people in being able to diagnose mental disorders, schizophrenia, and other issues from actual demonic possession or possession by jinns. A lot of times people misunderstand domestic abuse, child abuse, and even possibly sexual abuse, and people acting out in ways that are not related to jinns or demons. Now, for those people who are able to understand this field and are well versed in Islam and the Quran and what is used to protect, then we know that there is a clear need to provide these kinds of services, not just to the Muslim community, but to the Western society at large. Now, this might seem like a strange venue and something that Muslims have tended to keep in the closet, yet if you go from city to city and mosque to mosque, you will hear in almost every masjid stories of people who have had problems from the Muslim community. The same is true in the non-Muslim community, although we do not hear about it. Now, on television, we're seeing a lot of shows about demonic possession, ghost hunters, hauntings, and a lot of stuff that comes on sci-fi and generally gets dismissed, poltergeists and other kinds of cases. where people are trying to experiment in different ways to capture sounds, light, changes in space and time. And they tend to be very unfamiliar, quite frankly, with the supernatural world. And that is because they don't have a clear spiritual or religious backing, and so they follow lead to lead and sometimes end up being nowhere. And so if you are a Muslim who understands psychology and is well versed in Islam, there is opportunity for you to create the field as an advisor and a spiritual helper to those who are in need. Now, if you will go online and look around, you will find from various forums and websites that there are many people experiencing all kinds of problems that can be answered and cured, and they could possibly be helped by certain rituals, bathing, cleaning, and other forms of recitation and protection from the Quran and from the tradition of the Prophet. And it is important for Muslims to get educated and make a positive stance. Now, it is highly important that I make this one disclaimer. There tends to be an assumption that perhaps some of the things that you hear or some of the things you see are not true. They're frauds, they're fakes. We see main things such as Ouija boards, as a Parker Brothers board game that you can go to Toys R Us and buy, and people think that this is a little happy little game that you can play and talk to dead loved ones. And we're seeing shows like John Edwards, who communicates with spirits and gets little names, and I'm seeing a G, a John, a George, a different whispering that he's able to divine from the spiritual world. And sometimes people tend to get involved in these things unintentionally or not realizing the significant ramifications. Now, it is very clear in Islam that communicating with the jinn or the supernatural world is haram. It is not something to be done. It is opening a door that should not be opened. Now, that does not mean that those who are skilled and qualified and understand the differences between right and wrong when dealing with the supernatural should not get involved to help others. Now, even as we see in the film Exorcist, Linda Blair's character does play with a Ouija board, and this is one of the indicators. I'm going to do a future video analyzing that film, since it's something that most Western audiences have seen. But it is important for Muslims in the West to get involved and be positive changers in the society to help those who are in need. And it could be a field of da'wah, of expressing our help to the society and helping them solve some problems that we as Muslims know can only be solved and cured by specific religious methodology. Now, how does exorcism work in Islam? Exorcism in Islam is a process where after a person is deemed to have been possessed by a jinn, certain verses and purification rituals are conducted to exorcise that jinn from the person and relieve them or release them from the body. Now, this might sound strange, but if you're a person who is aware of exorcism and demonic possession, then you know that these things occur, and you can go online and look at YouTube and other places and see cases of demonic possession. Some of them look bogus, some of them could be real. Allah, God only knows. But as a Muslim, it is incumbent, and every single Muslim believes without any shadow of the doubt in the jinn, just as we would believe in the Lord Most High and the prophets and the books and the angels and life after death. And so it is necessary for Muslims to provide that kind of a help and be advisors and helpers. Now, I'm going to say this, and this might get a lot of backlash, so I don't know. If you are a person who is in need of help, whether you are a Muslim or not, and you think for some reason that you could be possessed by a jinn, or a loved one is possessed by some kind of spirit, or something is haunted your dwelling or residence, then seek out a Muslim. Seek out a Muslim, find a local mosque, or contact me, and I'll be able to put you in touch with the right people to provide the help that you need. Demonic possession and the world of the spiritual and the supernatural. Definitely an issue that is on the rise, definitely an issue that people are being aware of, but definitely a hot conflict. Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for watching HotConflict.com.